time to do the show. So welcome back to another week with Dennis, Father Benjamin. We're talking about John Mark Comer's book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. So looking forward to this. Good read this week.
Yes, sir.
We're going to dive right into it. We're going to open with prayer, and then we're going to feed you, just remind you of the questions that maybe you've been reflecting on this week. And after Dennis and I chat for a few minutes about some of our favorite parts, we're going to hear from you guys a little bit more this week. I invite you to get interactive with us. We've got a couple guys on the other end of the camera, on the other end of the computer, ready to receive some of your comments, some of your reflections, some of your answers to these questions. So let's jump into prayer and we'll get started. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change. God, grant us the courage to change the things that you call us to change. God, give us the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. How you doing, Dennis?
I am doing pretty well.
Chugging right along here at St. Joseph's.
That's right. Every day is interesting in this COVID-19 reality that we're living in.
My mantra is just put one foot in front of the other. Right?
That's right.
As soon as I start to try and get too far ahead of myself, that's when I feel myself getting stressed out. You know, when people come to me with questions sometimes like, "Father, why are we going to do this?" It's like a really basic question. I feel like you should have an answer for it. It's like, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. You know, so maybe you feel like some of those things apply to you as well. Some of the questions that we come to, if you don't have this yet, I'm just going to make a quick mention of this, is the book study outline for the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It's on our online resources that you can get to through our homepage. The questions that we asked last week for you to focus on during this week's readings were three questions. One, if I had more time, how would I desire to spend it? Right? Which, you know, the author shares a few things that he might like to do if he had more time. And then, second question, how would Jesus live if he were me? And so it's kind of a rewording of the what would Jesus do thing. And then the third question is, am I ready to arrange or rearrange my days so that Jesus' life becomes my new normal? Why or why not? Good questions. Good questions. So we're going to jump into a little bit of like some of the things that stuck out to us the most from this past week's section, part 2, which is the solution, right? Part 1, of course, the problem. Talked all about that last week. Now we're into part 2, the solution. So it's got 3 parts, 3 sections to the solution. There's not more time. 2, the secret of the easy yoke. And 3, what we're really talking about is a rule of life, which starts to sound really Catholic there.
It does. Yes, it does. I like the whole way the solution isn't more time. In other words, for those of us who our propensity is to keep doing and to do more. If we had more time, we would just keep filling it. So the whole idea that is being purported here is how do we step back and stay off the squirrel wheel and keep balance. And I love the 2 terms that the author used, essentialism and what was the other one?
Minimalism.
Minimalism. And when I first read that, I said, well, those are pretty similar. It's essential, what really is important, and then minimalism, what's necessary. But then I started really thinking through the whole idea is how do we stay off that squirrel wheel? How do we keep balance? And so it's not doing or not doing, it's doing what's necessary and then what's important. And everything else is secondary.
Yeah. You're making me think of this quote that's attributed to St. Francis of Assisi. And I'm for sure going to butcher it. Maybe one of you guys can look this up. It's something like, if we do what we can do, or if we first do what we can do, and then we do what we hope is possible, then finally we'll find ourselves doing the impossible, right?
Right.
It's kind of like the gist of the quote. And, but it starts with doing like what is essential and necessary. Right? And it's like, if we can master the basics and give due attention to the building blocks of our life, which we just take for granted too much, you know?
Yeah.
Here we go. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Right?
Amen.
I actually did a little bit better than I gave myself credit for. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, right? And really, just, you know, it's kind of self-evident, you know, but it's also very hopeful because the things that we thought impossible, we just very well may find ourselves doing.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, you know, in this COVID time, we really are, we talked about it last week, that we're in the Corona detox.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we're living through this, what we're finding, and Edith and I were on a phone call today, and we were chatting about how we have a little more time in our day to really think about things and focus on what's more important, because we're not rushing as much as we normally would be because we're in suspended public activity. So I was thinking, I was using a Q-tip, and I never thought about this, but what does Q-tip stand for? So I turned to my trusty Google, and Q in Q-tip actually stands for quality. And I was thinking, you know what, we're reading this whole book, and what's really going on for me is a recognition that all the author is trying to help us do is to really try to improve the quality of our living by doing what's important and necessary, rather than just filling our lives with lots of activity, which may or may not have any purpose or meaning.
Yeah, agreed. The big word that stuck out to me in that first section about the solution not being about more time was the word limitations. You know, and usually that comes with a negative connotation. What's the limiting factor? You know, even not hearing the word limit, I'm starting to think of eliminating. But we usually look at those things as, drawbacks, obstacles, limitations are all kind of lumped together. But here he proposes that limitations very well might be kind of guideposts for where God is calling us. And